Live from the WHBC Broadcast Center. Find out more about area businesses, agencies, and events.
It's what's going on right now.
This is Spotlight.
Oh, and welcome to Spotlight on this beautiful Wednesday morning. And, of course, I always love it when we get to talk to this gentleman because he spreads lots of wonderful information that over the years has been so wonderful. And Dominic Fonte is who I'm speaking about. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great, Pam Cook. How the heck was your Labor Day weekend?
It was very nice and quiet, just the way I like it.
A nice break with the weather. Is everybody enjoying the cooler weather out there?
Yeah. What about you? Are you?
I'm loving it.
Yeah?
Loving it. Yes.
You like a cooler temperature than
I really do. I think if I had a magic wand, I'd say 72-degree temperature, low humidity, sunshine.
Like
Sounds
San Diego.
That's just what I was going to say.
It sounds like San Diego. It does.
But, hey, I hope all your listeners are alert and ready to learn today. Obviously there's a lot of changes happening in this real estate world, and it's so expensive and emotional these days. And if you have to get a loan, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do to help educate the listeners and viewers if you're on Facebook. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. You can leave a question there, and producer Nick will monitor Facebook, and if any questions pop up, he'll grab them, and we can ask Dominic about them. And I was just looking at your new website right now.
Dominic Fonte and Associates.com, and I call it the Seasons of Change.
That's you.
Well, that was in like 88, 89.
I was going to say, yeah.
What do you think of
Look
that
at
mustache?
you. I thought these were okay. I'm not going to lie. I thought
She's hurt my feelings.
No,
Look at that.
no, I thought these were pictures of like people who had worked there. I didn't realize that this is actually you.
So this is when the children came along. All that gray hair.
Yeah, I see.
All five of them.
All five
Which
children.
actually, my son, who's joining us here momentarily. Come on in, Dom. So Dominic Fonte, junior version of me. He's on our team. And we have one other gentleman joining us shortly, Zev Braun, who's also on our team. But the Seasons of Change, I think, is relevant to the listeners and the viewers because, real estate's a very big thing. Mm-hmm. It's scary. It's emotional. And what I find is over 37 years of doing this, helping 2,600 families, one of the things that I noticed is that it's not always because of it's your own volition. It's not like, oh, I'm so excited, we're, moving and whatever. Now, that does happen. But there's times when seasons of change happen where maybe someone, a loved one, is, going into assisted care, maybe a memory care unit. Maybe someone's having a financial struggle. It's just very difficult because if you look at the majority of the population, I would say moving is very stressful. It's one of those top few things that you're going to do. And if you're buying it, of course, it's expensive, and there's navigating through the process, the interest rates, how much money is it going to cost, and things like that. And, if you're living in a house or you're renting somewhere for a long period of time, there's a lot of things you accumulate, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So not only trying to make a decision and how do you do that, right, it's just... It can be overwhelming, and I think what we pride ourselves on through the seasons of change with people's lives is figuring out a way to kind of make it like a three-step process and baby step the clients through the process based on their personality type so that they are relaxed and calm through the whole process, and they tell their friends and family what an experience that they had, which was great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that's the goal, really.
Well, you need somebody who is that, a person who's going to come in and be the calming effect.
Exactly. There's nothing super calming about going through the real estate experience, I got to tell you.
Both physical and mental.
Yes,
because,
it is.
It covers both of those.
And the cost is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So this is Dominic.
Let's meet your son, Dominic. Right. Dom. We were calling him Dom.
Yeah, Dom is
right,
good.
And then we were calling you Dominic, so we could address both of you and not confuse anybody. But
yeah, makes it easy.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you back again. You were here the last time, and your dad talks a lot about the seasons of change, and you're going to be part of that season of change.
Right.
I mean, because you've got a different perspective, obviously, which is a good one.
Bring a little young perspective, but I really wouldn't know much without him. I grew up in it pretty much since I was born, so it really helped just form a well-rounded individual, I guess, in the business for me.
Yeah.
And that really helps me, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, your dad teaches a lot of people a lot of things.
The interesting thing about the younger version is when you're older like us, in our 60s.
Is he talking to me?
Yeah. I'm talking about Nick behind the scenes. He needs to jump in front of that camera so everybody can see the star behind the scenes. But anyhow, when you're younger, I think sometimes perception is reality for a lot of people. They feel insecure, like what is his knowledge base because he's a young guy. Well, he's owned a property for a few years. He's a landlord, so he understands what people go through. And I think what's interesting is when I get feedback from a lot of the clients that he works with, they're like, this guy's like a 50-year-old. He's 25 years old. He's like a 50-year-old with his knowledge. And so I think that's pretty impressive. And I think that's important because with the heart of a teacher, you always want to walk people through the process based on where they are. It's not where we are or our experience. It's your first or second or maybe third time. And I just think it's very important to have a good navigator, which is what really our job is to provide you the proper knowledge. And in some cases, we might even try to talk you out of it if it's not right for you in the long view. Because sometimes, people it's emotional. It's hard to decide. And sometimes you just need to talk to a person, an advisor, that can kind of give you the options, the pros and the cons, so that when the time comes, if it's right for you and your loved ones, then you know what to do. But, I mean, honestly, it's nerve-wracking, even for people in our industry, because it's always evolving and changing. And we're trying to, without a crystal ball, understand what is the best move, what is the right way to do it, and in the right order. And that's why I think experience and a tried true professional that understands the seasons of change, which is what we pride ourselves on, to help the listeners and the viewers to make sure that if they have to go through it, that they have the right team on their side.
And we always like to talk, we usually start off by kind of giving a little overview of what the market's like. I mean, what's it been like over these last couple of months?
Dom, what do you from a buyer perspective, well, there's two sides of it for starters. Like if you're thinking of selling and going to an apartment, or if you're thinking of selling and downsizing or upsizing through the seasons of change. So on the buyer side, we'll let him touch on the buyer side.
Okay.
If you're a potential buyer, what's the market doing, Dom?
Yeah, so location is always the driving factor, as many people hear a lot. It's 3 L's in real estate. Location. So with that being the case, a lot of these buyers are running into low inventory. And when these homes are in a nice location, right, a lot of people are looking for maybe a school district, or maybe if they're thinking of starting a family, they're looking for a nice backyard or something for kids to play in the future. So I'm still seeing multiple offers in certain situations, not every situation, not like over COVID, thankfully.
Right.
But I was recently working with a couple on a home in Cuyahoga Falls, and it ended up having 9 offers on that one. And that just goes to show look, there's still a lot of people out there looking to buy that can buy, and location drives that, especially, up in Cuyahoga Falls. After COVID, people are looking for, personal space and activities to do, and especially in Cuyahoga Falls, you have your mountain biking, hiking, all the metro parks and all that to do activity-wise. But
that makes sense.
But that's what buyers are running into, and especially first-time buyers. A lot of the people my age that I'm helping, it's difficult because there's a lot of information on social media. Some of it's not the best information, and a lot of the information's from other states or not necessarily our local market. So it's not giving them the best perspective, and it kind of makes them lose a little hope. So I always feel bad for that. Then I kind of try and help set their expectations more realistically. So yes, it still is competitive, but not all hope's lost. You'll be able to find a home. It's not like we're in some of these places like Florida and California where prices are so sky high and it's just not attainable with crazy insurance and taxes and things like that. Stark County,
Options.
still pretty reasonable to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if you're selling?
Well, if you're selling, it's location. So basically, as a seller, a lot of people are a little behind the times. So as the market's shifting, and that's what really we try to monitor. So if you have someone come out and talk to you today, in 3 months it could be totally different. So you just remember when you have the conversation, the market's relative to right now or the next 30, 60, 90 days. I would say it's still favoring in Stark County. It's about 2 months of inventory. So in English, what that means is that it's still favoring the seller. So if the house is in the right location, the right condition, and priced realistically, like the example he gave with 9 offers, that can still happen. It's not happening as much as it did during COVID, after COVID, because of the rates were low. But I find that it's still location, condition, and price. Okay. The seller that sells the real estate controls the condition and price. The job of the agent is to give them the market data so they make an informed decision. But many times, since real estate's so emotional, a lot of times people will say, well, yeah, but my house is much nicer than that. I just remodeled the kitchen, the bathroom. I put new siding on, new windows. And I'll say, well, what year did you do that? And they said in like 2020. So technically those updates are 23 to 25 years old, right? And so it's just in the eye of the beholder, I think, technically. But if it's location, which is always a given, you can't pick up and move the house to a different area. So that's the main driver. And then, of course, the condition and price. So if it needs work, it needs to be priced relative to the work that it needs. And the agent's job is to advise and educate the seller so that they don't leave their house on the market too long, and then the buyers get scared and think something's wrong with the house because it's been on the market too long.
So perfect.
Yeah.
It's that perfect.
So are you saying
medium.
people can't just list their homes astronomically high and expect to get things to sell?
Well, I mean, think of it like this. Without a crystal ball, you don't know technically if let's say the house is on the market and the seller says, but, like, what if someone from California comes in? They're going to think this is a great buy. So can't we just try it a little bit higher? And so, maybe we'll make a pivot and say, you know what, let's try it for 7 to 10 days higher, and let's see what the market does. And then if not, then we just, bring the price down quickly. But sometimes I think, if the seller says, well, I feel my house is worth more. Did you hear that? I feel. So I you got to kind of pull data to educate them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so once in a blue moon, you do price it a little higher. You test the market a little bit higher. And once in a while you get lucky and God sends you a blessing from California. And they're like, I'll take 2. It's a good deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, I don't say there's not, it's not an exact science. So we're trying to give you market data. So as you're thinking about it, you try to make that informed decision. And then if we price it realistically, we draw on the activity. The newness to the market is where you seem to do better. Because, in today's standard, unlike before, I think people will say, well, why hasn't it sold? It's been on the market over 30 days. Well, there was a time not too long ago after '08 when the market tanked that the average market time was 180 days.
Wow.
Like 6 months average was a quick sale.
Yeah, right.
And so now it's like, what's wrong with it? Hasn't sold in like 2 minutes. So it's just one of those things. But anyhow,
all right, we have to take our first break. Yeah, let's take our first break. And we'll come back with more on Spotlight. Of course, Dominic Fonte and Associates. And if you have questions, put them on Facebook. We're live on Facebook right this very moment. You can check us out at 1480 WHBC.
Wow. Real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation. It is very confusing. Hi, I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I have over 37 years experience. I helped over 2,600 families. I can help you too. Trusted, respected, recommended. Check out our more than 500 5-star reviews to see what you'll experience working with Dominic Fonte Associates. DominicFonte.com. Knowledge is power.
High school football exemplifies the true meaning of teamwork. At Friends and Family Credit Union, our team of local friendly professionals offer the same true spirit for our members. With a wide array of products from vehicle loans to personal loans, family secure checking with ID Protect, mortgage, home equity line of credit, and more. For over 60 years, we have the game plan for your financial well-being. Visit any of our 3 convenient locations, online or mobile banking. Now, more than ever, it's time to bring a friend into the family.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped Good RX and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Yes, back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC. Dominic Fonte and Associates. Dominic Fonte and his son, Dom. Because you're not a junior, are you?
We have different middle names.
You have different middle names.
So
I noticed that.
I would be like a third or fourth.
I noticed that on your little thing.
Like, actually, yeah. I'm a junior.
You are?
Right.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that. See
right.
there? But it's great to have both of you in studio. I always love having you guys here. And Dom,
yes.
You wanted to mention something about rates because people were,
Yes.
people are seeing things happening in the news.
Right. They're hearing things about, what's the Fed doing? They're dropping the rate. Or does that mean we're going to be seeing, mortgage rates drop? Are we going to see prices skyrocket again? So the thing is, Fed Chair Powell said they're going to be maybe a potential 75 basis point drop. And what that means is, they're going to lower the Fed rate. But does that directly impact the mortgage rates? We'll see some impact on that a little bit, but we're not going to see them drop probably 0.5% or 0.75%. But we'll see a little movement. And when that happens, that will bring some buyers back into the buying market because it'll bring affordability back if we get closer to that 5.9% range.
Yeah.
And that can also drive a little bit of competition again, which is going to maybe push prices up again. And that's the difficulty we're seeing with some buyers. And that brings back into the seller aspect.
I think, there's the Heroes program. There's so many good programs. And I think we've talked about this before, that there's like 2,444 assistant programs that most people aren't aware of. And so the younger people, especially like Dom's age, maybe I'd say 30, in their 30s, 25 to 35, in that range. The average, I think, is 38 now buying homes. But I think their hope is dashed mainly because of all the news. You hear the headlines, they terrify, they don't clarify. And that's why I like coming on and, educating the clients out there that there's hope out there. And what he said is if the Fed keeps dropping the rates too aggressively, then it creates a frenzy again, the prices go back up. So they have to be very strategic when they lower those rates. But there are programs out there, folks, that you can get a 5.5% to 5.9% interest rate right now with certain criteria. So you need to reach out to our team and they can, have a conversation. We do a needs analysis to make sure that we're meeting your needs and giving you all the options that fit best for you and your loved ones.
Yeah, because you should not be afraid. Do not be afraid. I mean, it's a natural thing, but...
Well, of course. I think that's why you have a good advisor, someone
right.
you know, like, and trust, so that you feel, at least at the very most, you can make an informed decision, because people that make informed decisions are generally happier people.
All right, so how do people get in touch with you? We haven't mentioned that yet, if they want to have a chat.
So you can call or text 330-418-1535, or send us an email, Dominic@DominicFonte.com.
And this new website is DominicFonteAndAssociates.com.
Right.
And there's some really good information about you and your background and how you kind of got to where you are now, right?
Well, I think what happens is, you only know what you know until you know more. And after 37 years, and if you can imagine the market, the supply, demand, interest rates, economy, 911, COVID, when the market tanked. So we don't curse the wind here at Dominic Fonte Associates. We adjust the sail, because no matter what happens, you have to still conduct your life, right? Which is seasons of change. It doesn't matter what the economy's doing. When you have to sell or you have to buy, we have to deal with it. So after this break, we'll continue a little bit more. Huh, Pam?
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Dominic Fonte and Associates. Stick with us. It is Spotlight here on 1480 WHBC.
Wow. Real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation. It is very confusing. Hi, I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I have over 37 years experience. I helped over 2,600 families. I can help you too. Trusted, respected, recommended. Check out our more than 500 five-star reviews to see what you'll experience working with Dominic Fonte Associates. DominicFonte.com. Knowledge is power.
Are you ready to accelerate towards your dreams with a new car, ATV, boat, or some extra cash for personal needs? This is Tiffany Kim, Banking Center Manager at the Commercial and Savings Bank, here to help you fund your next adventure. Our team of experts is committed to finding the right solution for you with competitive rates, flexible terms, and personalized service. Visit csb1.com to apply online or give us a call at 800-654-9015 to speak with a loan specialist and discover the CSB Advantage. The Commercial and Savings Bank, member FDIC.
Want to stay healthy and in control? PrEP is a powerful tool to prevent HIV. PrEP is a daily pill that works for both men and women. And here's more good news. Free HIV testing is available every Wednesday from 1:30 to 3 p.m. It's quick, confidential, and no appointment is needed. For more information, contact Canton City Public Health 330-489-3322, extension 5. 330-489-3322, extension 5. PrEP up. Get tested. Let's stop HIV together.
Looking for senior living that feels like home? At Story Point Group communities like Danbury, Worcester, Millersburg, North Canton, Massillon, and Story Point, Medina, we offer award-winning support, daily chef-prepared meals, engaging activities, and a team that truly cares. Come see what makes life with us so special. Visit us online at storypoint.com.
School's back in session, and if your kids still need something for back to school, then you should get to Macy's now. Come in and find everything on your list, like Active from Nike and Jordan, denim from Levi's and Good American, plus complete looks from Abercrombie Kids too. Even furniture and mattresses at our lowest prices of the season, just for your college student who still needs something for their room. It's all in one place, all at great prices, and it's all here now at Macy's.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Medicine Center pharmacies have been serving our local community for over 40 years. Our customers know they can count on our pharmacy staff, save money, and trust us. Stop by any of our Medicine Center pharmacy locations in Canton, Louisville, Minerva, and New Philadelphia, or visit us online at medshoprx.com.
Make a splash this summer with clean, soft water from Verndale Water Experts. Call 330-455-9466 or visit verndalewater.com. Verndale Pure Water, Pure Summer.
WHBC AM Canton, reliable as ever on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
From the News Talk 1480 WHBC Newsroom, the Ohio Department of Development has awarded more than $15 million in tax credits for film production in Stark County. The grants were approved under the Motion Picture Tax Credit Program with a total of $46 million to support films and TV production across Ohio. 4 awards made in Stark County under this tax credit program. Productions can receive a refundable tax credit of 30% on cast and crew wages and other in-state spending. New details emerging about the deadly shooting of that 11-year-old boy in Houston during a ding-dong ditch prank. Police say the suspect, 42-year-old Gonzalo Leon Jr., was waiting in the shadows behind a fence in his side yard when he shot the boy. The child and his 10-year-old cousin had knocked on Leon's door 3 times. The boy was taken to the hospital in critical condition where he died. Police emphasized the boys clearly appeared as children and were not threatening in any way. The U.S. military conducted a lethal strike against an alleged drug vessel from Venezuela in the southern Caribbean. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announcing it yesterday, saying they shot out a boat. The president says a drug-carrying boat with lots of drugs on it. In sports, the Guardians lost to Boston 11-7 last night. They'll wrap up that series tonight. 6:45 first pitch right here on 1480 WHBC. I'm Pam Cook.
Your severe weather station, News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Here's your AccuWeather forecast. Today, expect a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 81 tonight. Skies will turn cloudy with a low of 62. Tomorrow brings variable cloudiness, a few showers, and a thunderstorm. It will be breezy and cooler with a high of 65. Friday will be partly sunny, breezy, and warmer, reaching a high of 77. Saturday will be cooler with a mix of clouds and sunshine, reaching a high of 65. With the AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg for News Talk 1480 WHBC.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
Oh, we are back on this Wednesday morning. It is Spotlight. You can find us live on Facebook right this very moment. Check us out there, and you can post questions there. If you want to go ahead and say, hey, help me out with this, you can do it right there on Facebook. We'll monitor the Facebook page and answer any questions that you might have. Dominic Fonte and Associates. I have Dominic Fonte and Dom Fonte, or Dominic and Dominic. We could do it that way, too. Dominic squared.
That's right. We're missing one of our associates who is under the weather today. His name's Zev Braun. He has 3 small children. He's about 35, and he's excellent. So we have a really dynamic team that covers the whole marketplace.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Zev was here with us the last time, and it was great to be able to talk to him, too. But we'll get him the next time.
Sure.
But I was saying off the air, people are listening. They're thinking, I like what Dom's telling me. I think I want to dip my toe into this process. Like, how do you go about doing that?
Is it the buying process or the selling process?
Well, let's say the buying process first.
Go ahead, Dom.
So a lot of people are looking on, Zillow, Realtor.com, Truly, just because people are always interested in a lot of its nosiness, right?
It is.
I like to see what's going on in the neighborhood, what's going on. So with that, I'll get a call sometimes, and sometimes people want to just jump into looking at houses, and maybe they're doing it just because they want to see what the inside looks like.
Would that be the cart before the horse?
That would be putting the cart before the horse a little bit. And the main reason for that is, like we discussed, a few minutes ago, we're in a market where things are moving quick, unfortunately, and when the location's right, the price is right, I will still see several offers on these homes. So if you're looking to be competitive, or you're more serious about getting into the buying process, or looking to buy, or maybe, sell your home then buy, or whatever that situation may be, the first step would be figuring out a pre-approval. Now, a lot of people hear commercials of Rocket Mortgage, and I see ads all the time. If I'm looking at Facebook or Instagram, I always see a Rocket Mortgage ad. Click here, one click, get pre-approved.
Pre-approved, yeah.
And, that's great, but the issue with that is a lot of times they don't verify any income information, any debt-to-income ratio, so the nuances to it, and then you want to focus on maybe someone local. So we have good contacts. We don't get any benefits from using them, but the benefit to you is it gives you a smoother process. Certain people that have good knowledge on these programs, like Dom Sr. discussed, they're 2,400 programs. These people will be able to guide you on what's going to be the best fit for you, because there's a lot of costs involved with it, including closing costs. And I've heard some pretty crazy stories where people are paying like $10,000 in closing costs because of whatever, position got pushed on buying down a rate. A lot of people get sold on that. So there's just a lot of nuances to the lending side, and that's kind of the first step to getting ready to buy that you want to understand before you, dip your toe into, let's just start going looking at houses, then getting frustrated because you're missing out on opportunities.
We don't really want to mention any particular lenders or anybody, but there's a ton of them out there. There's bankers and brokers. And a lot of times what people don't understand, and older people especially, hate when their mortgage gets sold, right?
Yeah.
So you might hear someone say Freddie, Fannie, or Ginnie Mae, which is the dysfunctional secondary market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, some banks, why people like them is they retain the servicing piece of it, so you can actually go to that particular bank and pay your mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get a statement, and people like that. They don't want to have to be mailing coupons every which way.
The coupons,
Right.
yeah.
So what happens is, it's more the institution, if it's a lender that is a broker, and a lot of times people don't understand the difference. And basically, sometimes the broker can shop many different programs, but if the originator, the person that you actually talk to, isn't seasoned and savvy like a local real estate agent, then they're not going to know. So a lot of times, people get hooked into those commercials, those internet things, push this magic button and you get approved. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So that's why you need an advisor, a real estate advisor, whoever it is. If you have a trusted advisor, stick with that person. If you need to talk to us and at least have a conversation, there's no charge. But you want to be informed, and this is really where the boo-boo is. So one of the particular lenders that we work with, for like FHA, Fair Housing Authority, it's a 3.5% down payment, which, that is like if you buy a $200,000 house, that's $7,000, which isn't bad to buy a home. And, technically the closing costs can be $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 with the lending institution or the bank. And so specifically, they have these programs where you won't pay more than $500 out of pocket. Now, do you think that would be valuable information to have?
Yes, 100%.
Right.
Because many people think there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. There's just no way.
Right. I need a down payment, and then they learn, I have an extra $5,000 I have to bring to closing on top of my down payment to cover my closing costs.
And that causes buyer anxiety big time. So you want to do it right. It's a scary thing, and we will guide you every step of the way. We will be your headlights in the dark. I promise you.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing I've learned about you, Dom, that's a good thing over the years is that you're honest. You're honest about everything. And, if a person needs a little bit of guidance to get to the point where they can go ahead and buy a house, you'll tell them, right?
Well, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you have to do what's right for you and your loved ones. And it's our job to do what we can by figuring this out to help you. Because it isn't like you do this every week. It's 1, 2, 3 times in your whole life. Between 25 and 75. The reason why we have so many reviews, 5-star reviews, is because we want to do you right so that you'll tell your friends and family. That's how I get the majority of my business. And then if we do you a good job, maybe you would take the time to even write a 5-star review, which is really important because people today, they buy something cheap on Amazon, they read all the reviews. When you buy the biggest thing in your whole life, you want to make sure you don't make a mistake. And there's a lot of moving parts, and that's what our job is to be your GPS or your headlights in the dark.
Do you feel like once people take that first step and they feel they have the financial part of it put to rest, so to speak, that they feel more comfortable in the process?
Yeah. So, and that's the big thing, right? Because people are thinking about, rents are high. Mm-hmm. They don't really know what a mortgage payment's going to be because with the rates changing the way they are, 0.25%, 0.5% can have a pretty big impact. Depending on the price point, it can be a few $100 a month based on your payment, and that's big. Mm-hmm. Insurance goes up. Like my insurance on my house just doubled this year. I just got the notification for it. So what am I doing? I'm shopping around insurance right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when they figure out the lending side, they get an idea. It's not exact, but what a monthly payment's going to be. So now they can budget for it and just expect. Look, I rented in the past, or maybe I'm still living with family and I'm able to save my money and I don't have to pay rent right now, which is great if you're able to do that. And now you can think, well, look, this is the price point I can afford. I'm comfortably spending this much a month. You don't want to be overdoing it every month because then you're house rich but life poor. You can't do the fun things you might want to do because everything's going to your home. So that's one of the big things I always tell my buyers, especially first-time buyers, you don't want to be in that position, because then you're just kind of feel stuck, and you kind of feel like, oh, geez, I can't do anything fun. I'm stuck.
Yeah, why did I do this? Yeah.
So that's the little remorse aspect. So that's why the lending and, monthly payment is so important. And the down payment has a big impact on that, too.
If you look even at, sometimes I'll hear potential buyers that would like to buy. And again, perception's reality, unfortunately, in our society for many reasons, right?
Right.
But I might ask a renter that's been renting for 5 years, and you know how fast 5 years goes by, right? They might say the average rent's $1,200 a month. Well, if you do $1,200 a month times 12 times 5, what are you talking, 50,000? A lot of money. I don't know whoever has a calculator out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But and they worry because they think that, the roof's going to break, the water heater, the furnace, So it's really not like that. So I think it's just good to get educated so that way you don't have any regrets looking back.
Yeah, go and ask the questions. Like I said, don't be afraid and ask the questions. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We have another segment to go. It is Dominic Fonte and Associates, and we are live on Facebook, and you're listening to 1480 WHBC.
Wow. Real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation. It is very confusing. Hi, I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I have over 37 years experience. I helped over 2,600 families. I can help you too. Trusted, respected, recommended. Check out our more than 500 5-star reviews to see what you'll experience working with Dominic Fonte Associates. DominicFonte.com. Knowledge is power.
The Sarshone Auto Group is Ohio's best, with 6 locations in Northeast Ohio. Sarshone Chevrolet in Randolph and Garrettsville. Sarshone Ford in Randolph and Alliance. Sarshone Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Dalton. And the Sarshone Auto Gallery, with all the top brands, like Chevy, Ford, Ram, Jeep, Dodge, and more. Experience the fast, friendly, no-pressure approach to car buying that makes Sarshone truly different. See the selection of thousands of new and used vehicles at Sarshone.com.
Hey, sports fans, looking for one thing that doesn't require a lot of effort to get a big payoff? Look no further than Sugardale. Whether it's perfectly smoked bacon, juicy ham, or mouth-watering hot dogs, gives you those tailgating vibes, Sugardale's done the hard work for you. They know anything worth doing is worth doing right, so Sugardale expertly smokes, seasons, and cures their meats right here in Stark County. It's simple. Just head into your local retailer, reach for the package with the red oval, and leave the hard work to Sugardale.
This is Mike Frazier, Senior Pastor at Canton Baptist Temple. I would like to personally invite you to worship with us at 10:15 this Sunday morning in our worship center located at 515 Whipple Avenue in Canton, Ohio. If you cannot be with us in person, please tune in to our broadcast right here on WHBC at 8:30 on Sunday mornings. For more information about our ministries, you can visit us at cantonbaptist.org. We look forward to meeting you soon.
Hi, this is Victor at Hayden's Auto Glass. Advanced driver assist systems are the norm on new vehicles. Lane departure warning systems obtain information from a windshield-mounted camera. When replacing one of these windshields, calibration of the camera is required. This is not a one-man-in-the-parking-lot job. You need trained technicians using specialized equipment to keep your car running safely. So make the safest choice. Choose Hayden's. At Hayden's Auto Glass, the difference is clear.
Hayden's Auto Glass. The difference is clear.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free. Select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams. One coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Your car steering wheel could be a ticking time bomb. At least 24 people have died and many more injured because their airbags fired shrapnel at them upon inflating. Tens of millions of cars have been recalled. If you suffered cuts that required stitches, hearing or vision loss, or broken bones, please contact us today.
Call 1-800-602-9900.
Morgan & Morgan. Visit us at badairbags.com for an office near you. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Now back to Spotlight on 1480 WHBC.
All right, our final segment on Spotlight on 1480 WHBC, live on a Facebook page. And if you want to comment, put a question in the comment section. We'd be more than happy to give that to Dom and let them answer. But a couple of things we want to get to. First of all, is it prudent for a person to have like investment property they might buy to rent out to somebody so that they can use that income? How does that work?
Well, it depends. Some people, as they're older and they're saying, you know what, my income's stopping and I have a smaller fixed income or a small pension, and they have some assets and they want to invest their assets in real estate, maybe a home to rent or a duplex to rent, or maybe even live in half the duplex and rent half the duplex, because, not only does the real estate typically go up 4.5% to 5% a year, exception was COVID, it went up 20%, which is not realistic. But if you just look at, stable, 3.5% to 4.5%, so it would go up maybe 4% a year, right? And let's say if you had a smaller mortgage or if you paid cash, then you rent it and you say, okay, what is the risk factor? So it's basically a forced savings plan. And if over the course of time the values go up, so the asset grows in value, that you can hand down to your family or sell and live the fourth quarter of life if you need to be. But there's also tax benefits to it as well. So you can deduct a lot of things. So if it's a single family home and it's a non-owner occupied, you can rent it and deduct many things because the government or the IRS gives you opportunities to do that. So it's a forced savings plan. It grows in value and also is cash flow eventually, right?
Okay, yeah.
So like if you have one house growing in value, and what was the house value over the last, say, 5-6 years? Like a 40% increase, which is not totally realistic, but there's a lot of people in the U.S. now that own real estate that have a lot of equity, okay? And maybe even a lot of the listeners and viewers today, are at that crossroads of trying to figure out, is this right for me? Because since the values went up so much, what has it affected? Well, it's affected our insurance, yearly. The utilities are more expensive, right? And the interest rates are higher, and the cost of the valuation is higher, so therefore our taxes are higher. So they're basically pricing you out of your home. So what is the alternative but to sell? And then you feel like, okay, if I go to an apartment, then I'm locked into the mercy of the apartment people, and they raise the rent every year. So it's like a catch-22. So in America here, you have options. So one of the options is, like Pam said, is consider a secondary piece of property. There's a lot of benefits to that. And if you'd like to have a conversation with a professional, now, my son, for example, what year was it? 3 years ago?
Yeah, so 3 years ago, I bought my first property. It was a duplex, and my whole goal, just like long term, right? I don't have kids yet, but I would like to leave something, assets or something for my kids eventually, and that would be the long-term goal of having a piece of real estate. But the short-term, my life, I guess short-term, so long-term for me, would be, look, I have a property. It's something that generates income. My whole goal with it is, and landlords get a bad rap. I'm sure you've seen it. They paint over dirt, things like that, right?
Yeah, right.
No, my whole goal is to be providing a nice place that someone feels like their home. Maybe if they don't want to own a home, I want to provide a nice place for somebody to live, and that would want to treat it like their own home because it's nice. If I update it and fix it, it's how I would want it if I were living there. That's how my whole philosophy is.
That's a great landlord.
Yeah, sure is. Absolutely, because you're right. There are some not so good ones out there for sure.
It's a wonderful thing in a way because, like, let's say if you're self-employed or you have a limited income, Now remember, real estate is a long view, right? It's not a get rich quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe you look at all your options. If you could find a money market at 4.5%, no headaches, which is hard to do. But if you could, that's an easy way to put some money in and have a decent return. But on the real estate side, it's a little more three-dimensional because of the tax ramifications, the forced saving, the asset growth, and then the cash flow at the end. And then, for some people that I know that are maybe in their 50s, early 60s. They've been landlords for a while. They're getting some good equity, and they're saying, you know what, I don't really want to be a landlord anymore, and I don't want to pay capital gains tax. So you could check with your advisor, your tax advisors, but you can do what's called a 1031 exchange, where you can take this asset, right, and sell it, identify one on the beach somewhere, like an Airbnb, right, that you want to retire to one day, and move those dollars over there to bypass the capital gains.
Wow,
now,
okay.
I'm a real estate agent, not an attorney or a tax advisor, so I'd recommend getting your own advice. But in the meantime, there's many options on the table, so that's why I think it's so very important to really have a conversation with an advisor that you trust or that has a tried and true tax record, or a track record, not tax record. Although I don't think I'd be
tax record.
I don't think I would be a good CPA. I can tell you that, but I have a good one. But so I think just in general, if you're listening or viewing, you want to go to DominicFonte.com, for example, and read some reviews. Like, we have a lot of reviews. And, people, it's scary. And it's hard to make the first call because you feel like, oh, geez, they're going to bug me and, bother me all the time. Yeah. We're not that way. We're busy enough. We're just here, just to share with the heart of a teacher, basically the process as best we can articulate. And I know it's hard sometimes because we all have baggage. We all have seasons of things happening to us. And over the 37 years of doing this, I feel that I have a pretty good grasp of what people are dealing with, and we try to be very sensitive to that. It's not just about the house or the real estate. It's about the person's life, how we can make it easier and smoother so they have a better quality of life. I think that's really the trick. What do you see?
That's what sets you apart, for sure.
What do you, you work with a lot of people, and I get good reports all the time. What are you struggling with, or what do you see people struggling with a little bit with, especially the folks that are maybe a little bit older that you're dealing with?
Right. So some of the things are, properties maintenance, right? A lot of people like privacy,
Yards.
or maybe they have an acre or half an acre. Half an acre is a good sized yard.
Yeah.
And if you have trees,
limbs.
you have leaves, and you have sticks to pick up. And let's say, your knees are starting not to work great. I'm young and my knees aren't working great. But, it's a lot of maintenance and it's a lot of upkeep. So then you get to the mindset of, well, maybe it's time, I'm planning for the future, or the fourth quarter of my life, rest of my life, I want to stay here, but I don't want to take care of the property. It's too much. The house is too big. Maybe they go to a condo, or maybe they want to downsize to a smaller house, or maybe, we tell them, just stay put. Maybe you just pay someone to come take care of the yard.
Come and do that, yeah.
And now if you have 10 acres, maybe that's not as
a
realistic.
little different, yeah.
But,
Parcel off some of those acres,
Right.
sell it off, and have income coming in and live on your small 1 acre.
maybe that's your retirement plan.
But we find a lot of times people panic and they say, you know what, we can't do the yard work anymore. We should probably buy a condominium. Well, they're trading one condominium headache, homeowners association, for another. When their house is paid off. Why not stay there? Let us help you get someone that can take care of the landscaping and some of the work, so you can stay in your home and live your best life
and enjoy it.
So I would just say one quick thing.
Yeah.
If you want to reach out to our team, call 330-418-1535, call or text, or send us an email at DominicFonte.com. Or if you just want to get a gut check on what you might experience working with our team, go to DominicFonte.com, read some of those reviews.
Thank you, guys. I'll see
Thanks
you soon,
again.
I
yeah,
hope.
thanks for having us.
Wow. Real estate headlines, interest rates, inflation. It is very confusing. Hi, I'm Dominic Fonte with Dominic Fonte Associates with Cutler Real Estate. I have over 37 years experience. I helped over 2,600 families. I can help you too. Trust